D4 Sean, this is symbolic. I'm replying to your video response to The Amazing Atheist. His video was a response to the Duck 1987. The topic was the rights of business owners. You maintain that a business is private property and that the business owner has the right to discriminate against anyone he wishes to. And that for him to have to offer a service or provide a good to someone that he doesn't wish to is in essence forced labor, and that renders that man a slave. This is so flawed, such flawed logic. I don't even know where to begin, to tell you the truth. It's a complete inversion of what happens in reality. What you're saying is, let's say there you have a prejudice against, well, for the sake of argument, let's say you have a prejudice against black people. A white man comes in, you sell him something. Another white man comes in, you sell him something. If a third white man were to come in, you would sell him something. But instead, the third man to come in is black. You are saying that if you serve this man, if you're required to serve this man, then you are now a slave. That's ridiculous. You would have expended the labor in any event. You know, what you do in denying that man access to those goods, access to the free access to that, is you dehumanize him. You know, don't cry the victim and say, oh, I've been made a slave because I just have to, you know, I just have to sell things and take money from this man who I don't like. You know, it's quite the opposite. If you deny that man based on a prejudice, a racial prejudice, if he's disabled, if he's a woman, if he's a woman, if she's a woman, if it's a disabled person, you know, if you deny them a good or service or job based just on that fact, you have committed a crime. You know, businesses are not the same type of property as your home. Now, a chair that you bought and you own in your home, I would say is, let's say, as pure as you can get to real private property. But when you open a business and purport to serve the public, that is a different type of property. That is semi-public property or semi-private property or quasi-private property is more how I think of it. You know, the services, the infrastructure that you use is paid for by every member of society. The roads are. If you watch Mendham's video, he argues this point. He argues it very well. That you know, that basically you're using the infrastructure of society, and I argue you're also using the laws of society to create that organization, to create that business. So it is not private property of the same type as a chair that you own in your own home. Completely different. Now, yes, you've created something new. If you've created a business, you've created something of value. That's fine. That's beautiful. You know, you have a right to sell it. You have a right to sell it. But you don't have a right to deny that to people. You don't have a right to deny equal access to people based on prejudices. That is unlawful and cannot be permitted. Cannot be permitted. You know, when you create a business, you have to register it. You don't suddenly become king and sovereign of your own little kingdom. You know, by your logic, you can break any law at all. You know, you don't have to follow any labor laws. You don't have to follow any safety laws. You can exploit your employees. You can you know, deny anybody any rights you want because you are king of your castle, and your castle is now the business. That is ridiculous. You know, laws exist for the public good. Your business is part of the social fabric. You are part of the social fabric. You have a duty to this society. I have a duty to this society. I think you guys read too much Rousseau or something, The Great Social Contract, where everybody lives in this barbarous state of anarchy in nature, and they get together and they somehow make some rational decision to sign a social contract to give up a few of their rights for the benefits of living in a society. That's not how it happened at all, man. We're social creatures. We're social animals. We evolved this way. You know, watch my other video to The Amazing Atheist if you wish. But we are social animals. You know, we're not these lone cowboys out there, and besides which, all that land was stolen from the American Indians. So you tell me if there's a respect for private property, and if any property you own is really your own. It's a complete illusion, if you ask me. And as I point out in a video to The Amazing Atheist, there was a time when we were following herds of animals, for food, and if you had private property, real estate, you would have died. It was death. Property was death, because your food source walked off and migrated away. So property is not fundamental. It's not the basis of human rights. It's not. Liberty does not flow from property. Liberty flows from the proper conduct of human beings, mutual respect, mutual dignity, and as you pointed out, not removing people's rights. Respecting their rights. Your example of the dying man who doesn't have enough strength to reach the sandwich, but you do, and you have a choice of whether or not to give him the sandwich or not. There are some states have Good Samaritan laws, some states do not have Good Samaritan laws. I won't go into the differences in the laws, but what you maintain is that you are absolutely separate. Once again, absolutely separate from the chain of events that led to this man's being in the predicament he is, and therefore you are completely removed, and there is no scientific way that you are related to this chain of events that caused him to be in this predicament. Therefore, you have no social obligation for them. I'm simply going to pick that apart. First of all, it's not scientific. First of all, the chain of events that led to his being in the predicament he is in, that's the proximate cause. That's not the ultimate cause or the only cause. It's simply the proximate cause. You and I are part of society. We affect society. We are part of the social fabric which creates the conditions that we all live in. We all have some responsibility to one another. We all share in the causation of and the responsibility for everyone's predicament and for finding solutions to those predicaments. We can't just cut ourselves out of the equation. And if you want to talk about science, if you want to talk about physics, and we cannot remove ourselves as an observer any longer. There's no way to remove yourself as an observer. We are part of the universe. Quantum mechanics is where that comes from. So when you talk about science, think about it. If you're observing the man, guess what? You're part of the equation, my friend. I've been watching the video responses to the Amazing Atheist's video. One thing I think the people who are supporting him in this philosophy of private property that you guys have, I really truly believe that you guys, I don't sense any empathy from you guys. I mean, I think you guys have low EQs. You score fine on the IQ level, but you guys, the emotional intelligence quotient seems real low to me. I mean, it's like, yeah, sure, let people suffer. I'm king, whatever I can grasp. I am now king of. And, you say that you even go so far as, you worship property so much, you even go so far as to say that we own ourselves. We don't own ourselves. We are ourselves. We're not property of anything. We're not property of ourselves. It's an illusion, my friend, an illusion. Stop making it the foundation of rights, the foundation of society. It's not. Many societies exist without such a rigid and absolute sense of private property. And I wish you guys would just cultivate a little empathy in this world. It would go a long way to make it a better world. not by creating little businesses with little values. Bye-bye, my friend.